Simply a miracle. Baby boy born from dead donor womb transplant in UK first. Hugo Powell was delivered by caesarean section in London after his mother underwent transplant surgery in 2024. She said she was the happiest I've ever been in my life. A baby boy has become the first child in Britain to be born to a mother with a womb transplanted from a deceased donor. Hugo Powell was delivered by caesarean section in December, weighing 6 lb 13 Oz 3, 1 kg, at the Queen Charlotte's and Chelsea Hospital, part of Imperial College Healthcare NHS Trust in London. Only 2 other such cases have been reported elsewhere in Europe, while a baby was born from a womb transplanted from a living donor for the first time in the UK last year. Hugo's mother, Grace Bell, an IT program manager, was born with Mayer to Rokitansky to Custer to Hauser MRKH, a rare condition characterized by an underdeveloped or missing womb. It's simply a miracle. I never ever thought that this would be possible, Ms. Bell said. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life, she added. When I was 16, I was told that this would never be possible. Hugo's father, Steve Powell, works in finance, and the couple, aged in their 30s, live in southern England. Ms. Bell said she remembered holding Mr. Powell's hand during the birth and trying to peep over the curtain before Hugo was placed in her arms. Reflecting on the birth, Mr. Powell said, "When he came over the curtain, it was just sort of overwhelming emotions. I felt like I wanted to cry but couldn't." From where we started to first meeting to where we are today with Hugo is nothing short of a miracle after everything we've been through. It just felt quite unreal at the time because this has been a long journey for us both. Speaking on Mornings with Ridge and Frost, Ms. Bell said, "About 16 years ago I was diagnosed with MRKH. It was a tough journey. I must admit, a very sad journey." But she added, "I remember the story of the first womb transplant in Sweden many years ago now and following that story intently. I still can't believe that I'm here today and I've gone through this. It's just amazing." The biggest gift, Ms. Bell, who broke down in tears when she recalled discovering she was pregnant, said she thinks of her womb donor every day and hopes her family finds some peace in knowing their daughter gave me the biggest gift, the gift of life. "There are no words to say thank you enough to my donor and her family," she said. "Their kindness and selflessness to a complete stranger is the reason I have been able to fulfill my lifelong dream of being a mum. I hope they know that my child will always know of their incredible gift and the miracle that brought him into this world." Read more science and technology news. Houston, NASA's next moon mission has a problem. How tampon could detect early signs of cancer. 5 other organs from the donor were transplanted into 4 people, saving the lives of others. The donor's parents said, "Losing our daughter has shattered our world in ways we can barely put into words. Yet even in this unimaginable pain, we found a small measure of solace in knowing that her final act, her choice, was one of pure generosity." After being told as a teenager that she had no womb, Ms. Bell said she remembers going into the hospital toilets and uncontrollably crying. She told Mr. Powell about her diagnosis straight away when they met. The couple had decided to pursue surrogacy before they became involved in the womb transplant program. So how do people become womb donors? Potential living donors must first undergo extensive counseling to ensure there is no coercion and that they understand the risks. For deceased donors, the womb is not covered by the normal consent for organ donation. Instead, their families may be approached by the Womb Transplant Research Program to see if they are interested in agreeing to take part. 2. Is there a shortage of donor wombs? Womb Transplant UK is running 2 programs, one involving living donors and another with organs from women who have died. The Living Donor Program in the UK has so far focused on women with relatives who are willing to consent to a donation. But the team believes that in the future, the program could expand to include friends or altruistic donors. Transplants from deceased donors only occur when the families of those who have died are asked specifically if they wish to donate a womb. 2. Did the NHS pay for the womb transplant? No. Each womb transplant costs about £30,000 and is fully funded by the charity Womb Transplant UK, including payment to the NHS for theatre time and the patient's stay in a ward. The operations are only carried out at times when the NHS is not using an operating theatre, so they do not impact NHS waiting lists. Surgeons and medical staff involved in the transplant have not been paid for their time. Once a patient becomes pregnant through self-funded IVF, the NHS takes over their care, as with any other pregnancy. Will there be more transplants in the UK? Yes. So far, surgeons have carried out 5 womb transplants in the UK, to 2 involving a living donor and 3 using a deceased donor. 2 babies have been born to one using a womb from a live donor and the other, as reported here, from a deceased donor. Experts believe a maximum of 20 to 30 womb transplants a year could be carried out in the UK in the future. Hugo's name honors charity chief. The couple decided to give Hugo the middle name Richard, after Professor Richard Smith, clinical lead of the charity Womb Transplant UK. Hugo was also given the middle name Norman, after MS Bell's grandfather. Professor Smith, who was present at the birth, said holding baby Hugo and hearing he would be given his name brought a tear to my eye. That did make me cry straight up. It's been quite emotional, very emotional, he said. MS Bell underwent the 7-hour womb transplant in 2024 before beginning fertility treatment several months later. The couple may decide to have a second baby, after which surgeons will remove the transplanted womb. If the transplanted organ is not removed, MS Bell would have to stay on immunosuppressant drugs. Wombs from deceased donors are not covered by the normal consent for organ donation, nor by joining the donor register, and their families must give specific permission after they have agreed to donate other organs. It is estimated about 25 to 30 babies have been born from deceased womb donations globally. Looking back on the process with MS Bell at his side, Mr. Powell called her an inspiration. He said, "The story, particularly for women, gives them hope in the same circumstances as Grace with MRKH. For my part, it's more just been the emotional support. We are in it together too, and making sure Grace didn't feel alone in this whole process." Mr. Powell added, "I appreciate she's the one that had gone through the transplant, put a body on the line, and got to the point of where we are today.